Hey, welcome everyone to the Educational AD Podcast, this time featuring the FIAAA Insider. Our guest today is a good friend, Russell Wambles. Russell is a certified Master Athletic Administrator, and he's got some great experience he's going to share with us today. Russell, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jake.
Well, as you know, the job of an athletic director never stops, so we're going to jump right into things. Russell, share with our guests the Russell Wambles story, where you were born, where you went to school, your sports involvement, and how that kind of got you started on the path of being a coach and an AD.
Sure thing. Well, I was born in Orlando. I'm one of the few original Floridians here, back when Orlando was a certified country place, very diverse now, but grew up most of my life in the suburb of Orlando, being a Popka. Played all sports growing up. My dad was a huge sports fan, and he was at every practice and game if he could get out of work to be there. And family was very supportive. Very poor family, but they always figured out a way to make sure I had a glove and cleats if it meant we had to drink powder milk. So I was always very appreciative of that. I don't know if my older brothers and sisters were, but we can't solve everybody's problems. But anyway, they still joke about, how much I got compared to them. I really don't feel like I was, just blessed totally with crazy stuff. But anyway, so then played all sports growing up. I was a 3-sport athlete all the way through 10th grade, right at the beginning of the 11th grade, my 11th grade season, about 2 weeks before football started. I was competing for the starting quarterback position with another young man, and I had a, back in those days, pretty serious leg injury, and so was out 6 months. So obviously that went down the tube. I wound up not playing. I couldn't play football or basketball that year. Got to play baseball, and just decided my senior year I was just going to play baseball. I knew that was what I was going to do in college. So wound up going to a small college in Northwest Arkansas. At the time it was called College of the Ozarks, eventually turned into University of the Ozarks. Played 4 years there. Was fortunate to start for 4 years, which was made it a smart decision to go to a smaller school rather than some bigger schools that I had the opportunity to go and watch people play for 2 or 3 years. I really enjoyed that experience tremendously. And plus it was much better for me academically. Fortunately, I went with what is now my wife to the same college. And so I had some tutoring and mentoring, which was definitely useful because, I was much more in tune with the sports scene than the class scene. And that's kind of an understatement. So having said that, I was fortunate enough, I think I was all conference 3 years there in college and played in a couple of the state college all-star games. So I had just a tremendous experience there. When I got through playing, I still had to do my student teaching, so I had a semester to go. And the coach asked me if I would work as an assistant coach on the staff while I was doing that. And I said, absolutely. It was just phenomenal experience. And so I got to coach for a year of college baseball. The next summer, my wife and I were getting married, and being an assistant baseball coach at the NIAAA school is not going to pay very many bills, as you already know. And so we were looking for me a job, and I had one requirement, and that was to find the job that paid the most money. And that was pretty much it. I mean, I was not very diverse in my thinking. Let's put it that way. Give me money. We're a new couple, and we got to make it work. So we pretty much narrowed it down to Central Florida or Northwest Arkansas. We'd already been there 5 years, so we were, loved the community. And so I took a job at a small school in the Ozark Mountains called St. Paul High School. It's fantastic. I mean, it's just, I cannot imagine having a better start to a high school career, and just worked with some really good people. Superintendent that I worked with there, Bill Schaefer, was just phenomenal. And but one of the things when I was interviewing for the position, I was a baseball guy, and they said, well, if you take this position, you got to coach girls basketball, and I wasn't really sure about all that. And I said, well, I think I'm probably out then. And then they told me, this was in 1987. They said, well, the salary's $18,000, and I said, well, I'm back in. So it's just kind of you know, because it was definitely the most money that was being offered at the time. That was a lot of money in 1987. So,
Absolutely.
but I took the job, and man, what a great experience. I had to learn how to coach girls, had to learn how to coach basketball. I knew, playing and coaching is two different things, as you know. And so learning how to coach the game, so fortunate. I had the best kids in the world. Very small rural school. I'd say chicken farming was probably the biggest industry. Not very diverse. And, but man, just so much support from the community, so learn that, and basketball, inherited a team that had struggled, and we did pretty good pretty quickly. And I think the second year we were there, won 22 games. So the last 3 years we were there, we were ranked in the top 10 state at different points in time. So I learned how to coach basketball and learned how to coach girls, and that was great. So, and eventually my wife wanted to move closer to home, so we kind of compromised, because I really enjoyed my time at St. Paul, and we moved to the North Georgia mountains, where I went to a much larger school, not much more diverse, but a much larger school, Murray County High School. Had a great experience in there, coaching girls basketball and baseball as well. And then my daughter was born in 1994. My wife said, I think it's time for us to move home and let our children grow up around their grandparents. So when I came back here, I took a job at Tavares High School in Lake County as the head baseball coach. Did that for 3 years, and then became the athletic director for 7 years. Back up to St. Paul, the second year I was there as a 23, 24-year-old coach, we only had 2 coaches on staff that coached everything. And, I was able to get an additional $2,000 to be the athletic director. So my first athletic director position was at the age of about 23 or 24, whatever the deal was. And very, very interesting situation. But having said all that, we went to Murray, and then we moved back to Florida. I was at Tavares High School, so that's what really began my the real time as an athletic administrator, because I was really only overseeing 4 or 5 sports at St. Paul and 1 coach, and I'm sure he didn't feel like that I oversaw him at all. So, but we again just worked with tremendous people at Tavares High School. In 2005, the opportunity came for me to go back to my alma mater, Apopka High School, as the athletic director. And I did that. Was there for 6 years, had some great experiences. We won the state sportsmanship award during that time period, along with a lot of other cool things that we accomplished at the school with some tremendous coaches, student athletes, and an awesome community. I eventually went to Dr. Phillipson High School, and I guess about 6 years later, was there for 6 years, and had another, great experience with quality people. And then I went back to Apopka High School for a couple of years, thinking I was going to retire there. And then this last year, we won the state sportsmanship award again there. But, I was given the opportunity, and along with some family situations and so forth, working from home was going to be a pretty good situation for me. So I took a position with the Human Kinetics as Associate Director of Coaching Education, which has been a passion of mine for many years. So I did that this past year, and now I'm getting ready to return back to a school. I'm not sure where that's going to be, but I'm excited about whatever possibility lies ahead.
Well, again, you and I have talked a little bit. The start of our career is very similar. Small schools, small towns out in the country, and I just don't think we can emphasize how important those experiences are in helping us learn how to become coaches, how to become ADs. So obviously that's helped you along the way. In your journey, you've mentioned it a couple times, directly and indirectly, the importance of mentors and leaders. Who are some of the really key mentors for you throughout your career?
Well, I mean, it starts with, fortunately, I had 2 parents in my household my whole life, even though we were financially, I guess we didn't do well. Let's just kind of leave it at that. I think that's everybody gets that. But
working class.
Working class at best. Labor. I mean, not laborers at very minimal income, raising 6 children. But anyway, they were fantastic. So it's like I tell people all the time. We're a poor family, but we had it was a great family. and there's a difference between the two. So anyway, my parents were just incredible mentors, and not just mentors, but, examples of, trying to do things the right way and working hard to accomplish things. So that was a big deal. I had a lot of really good youth coaches, which I, just very fortunate. And in this Apopka community, I still live in Apopka. The Apopka community still is just blessed with just really high quality youth coaches in all sports. So that was great. But I would say outside of, and then my superintendent that I worked with in St. Paul was a former basketball coach, and he became my best friend. And I just learned so much from him, about everything, about, not just how to coach, but in winning and losing, but, offense and defense, the tactical parts of it, but also just watching the way that he did things. He was just, he's very morally and ethically, top notch, but with a great sense of humor, who was, just a great servant leader. So I learned a lot from him. And, but I would say the adult that had the largest impact on me outside of my parents was probably my college baseball coach. He was just, you could easily sum it up to say he's a good man, but it's much more than that. He wasn't just a good man. He was a good Christian man, a good leader and mentor and all that he did. And it wasn't really at all about the game of baseball. Don't get me wrong. He liked to win like everybody else, but it was, we all say that winning is not the most important thing, and we say all those things, but he really lived those qualities as a coach and as a leader. And he just made you played with confidence. And, I had some good quality high school coaches that did some of those same things, but, I've also had some coaches over the years that would kind of, you just played so uptight. You were afraid you're going to be replaced or, be criticized or mocked or something like that. And it's hard to play like that. I've always believed, well, that's not true. Until I met my college baseball coach, I didn't believe this way. But after spending 4 years playing with him and coaching with him, and he gave me so many responsibilities as a coach, mind blowing. Now, coach first base, I called the offensive plays. He was like, he had so much confidence. And I remember when I was a freshman, just being in the batting cage, and he was working on something, and I wasn't doing a very good job, and he was standing behind the cage, and I just turned around and looked at him. I finally got frustrated. He wasn't saying anything to me. I turned around and looked at him. I said, "Coach, what am I doing wrong?" Like with a frustrated voice. And he looked at me. He says, "You think too much, man." He said, "You're a great player. You're a great hitter. See the ball, hit it." And I thought, and I know that's a simple statement, but for 4 years, every time I was standing in the batter's box and I looked down at the third base coach to get a sign, you just always felt like, this guy thinks I'm a really good player. This guy has a tremendous amount of confidence in me. And, hitting a baseball coming in at 95 mile per hour, or, curveballs breaking, 45 degrees or whatever is hard enough. When you don't have confidence, it's much easier when you do. So I was, very appreciative of that. One other thing I would say is the diversity of those programs, being at St. Paul as a coach and working my way to Apopka and Dr. Phillips, is just crazy. When I was at St. Paul, we drove the bus, we cleaned the toilets, we refinished our own gym floors. It's we had a restraining line in our gym because it wasn't big enough to, you just develop so much appreciation for what you get later on when you get the opportunity to experience those things.
No, absolutely. That you just can't beat that small school experience as a training ground, because you're right. You're literally doing everything. Let's talk a little bit about FIAAA, NIAAA. You talk about mentors. I was a coach and an AD coming to Florida in 2000, but got involved with FIAAA, I would say later in my career. And you were certainly, one of the people there that helped get me involved. What's your story with FIAAA and NIAAA?
Well, as soon as I became the AD at Tiberias High School, I'm not sure what the year was. I should know that, but somewhere around 97 maybe. I started looking for ways to be better, and and I heard about the FIAAA, so I started, getting involved. And I had a lot of conversations on the phone with Trish Highland, who became my county AD in Orange County, and Dave Horner, who was at Forest High School, Jerry Board at University, just people I'd never met. But I was just learning so much from them. They told me about the FIAAA conference, so I went to the first one. I'm going to guess probably in 98, 99 somewhere, probably some. No, it has to be about 98. But anyway, so and then I went to my first NIAAA conference in New Orleans. Ironically, it was the year of Katrina, so it was a few months, maybe 6 months before Katrina. I don't remember, what month Katrina was in, but so in December I went to the NIAAA conference in New Orleans. And I was like, wow, I mean, we all go to them now and you don't think much about it, but I mean, it was just overwhelming, everything was going on, so much knowledge to gain and so forth. And it was really sad a few minutes later when you're, watching, national news and, seeing all the things in that same convention center and hotel that was going on, which is really sad. But that was when I first got involved there. When Trish Highland became the president-elect of FIAAA, she asked me to become the district director. And that was 18 years ago, probably. And which I was very honored because I was in Lake County. I wasn't even one of her ADs. So, so I was the district director, for quite a while. So I've been an FIAAA board member for 18 years. Throughout those 18 years, I've served in the president path role of, president-elect, president, past president. I've been the historian. I've been the chaplain on 2 different occasions. So I've been involved on the executive board of those 18 years. I would say probably about, I haven't looked, but 12 or 13 of those years, maybe even more than that. So it's just been awesome, and I've served on obviously so many committees, chaired a lot of committees, and now my biggest focus with the FIAAA is as a corporate sponsor, liaison, to make sure we have enough money we need to run things, and also to decrease costs for our members, to be involved in the organization and so forth. So those have all been rewarding. Also, my favorite time on this board is when I was the president, and we were switching to FHSA AD advisory. We were kind of taking that over, and because of the time lapse in the elections, I was able to appoint like 10 people to our board. I would normally say that's not healthy for one person to be able to do that, but the biggest thing that was important to me at that time was to see our board diversify. Generally, a lot of people look the same, in the room. Not in all cases, but in a lot of cases. And it gave me the opportunity to reach out to people throughout the state and say, okay, well, let's get people of different race and different, gender and different, let's get some private school, you know what I mean? And things like that. If I'm going to do this, let's see if we can make this board look different and be more representative. And so that was probably the thing I'm most proud of, is having the opportunity to do that. I thought we did a decent job of that. But I've also served on the FHSA board for the 2 years, and FACA board for, I think, 4. And so I've been involved with a lot. No, sorry, NIAAA, I guess. I'm also on the national faculty with that, and with 503. Serve on the NIAAN committee, National Initiative Assistant Network Committee, and have represented Florida, with Section 3 and as a state delegate several times. So just really, honored to have been had the opportunity to do these things with such high quality people.
Well, again, I've told the story many times. I took my first course from Dan Como, and then took that next course with you, and you were just so encouraging to me as just a new attendee, and was fortunate enough you did appoint me to the board position, and it's just been a great experience. I can't thank you enough for helping me to grow as an athletic director, both at the state level and on the NIAAA level as well. Let's talk a little bit about the job of an athletic administrator. You've been small school, you've been big school, you've been doing this for a number of years. How has the job of the school-based athletic administrator changed since you first got involved, and maybe we can fast forward a little bit to when you got involved as an AD in Florida. How's the job changed?
Well, it's just tremendous. I mean, obviously, over the years, the responsibilities and liabilities have just grown and grown, and that continues to happen every year. Um, I think one of the things that's not as exciting is I think you have to spend more time on compliance. And it's obviously a necessary thing, and I'm very proud of working with programs that are known for doing things the right way and in compliance and such. But you wind up spending so much time with compliance and tasks that you don't seem to have quite as much time to spend with the people. When I say the people, I'm saying the students, athletes, and the coaches. So that's a negative, but it has to be done. I mean, the job has to be done, and you just have to put the time in to try to balance both. That's a big thing. But really, I mean, I know you're talking about Florida, but I can go back to my days at St. Paul where I was talking about, driving the bus, and you did everything. That's what you did. And I taught math, I taught PE, and, whatever, you did what you had to do. And then, I hired my own officials, I kept the check in my back pocket for them. And then in that way, if they ever, got a little rough on me, I just pull the check out and hold it up and say, just remember this in my back pocket. But, they usually didn't find that near as funny as I did. But anyway, it's just and now, we don't do any of that stuff anymore. We contract with people to do things like that. I wish, and I don't mean this bad, I wish there was a way for every coach to enter the profession similar to what you and I did. I just think it would help every coach be a better coach. I really do, because it would just make you appreciate when you get those things, when those things come to you, where someone else is, mowing your grass or washing your laundry, whatever the deal may be. I just think it would just mean so much more, and take away some of the slight entitlement that we sometimes see. So, but yeah, I think and obviously, electronic technology is just huge. I mean, you used to write everything by hand, everything you did. I mean, eligibility, whatever the deal was, or you used a typewriter. My gosh, I don't know what we do with that nowadays. But and now, I mean, you're touching buttons. We're sitting here looking at each other live and having a conversation.
The Zoom conference.
Yeah, it's
technology.
just this stuff is mind blowing to me. But it sounds like I'm 112 years old, but I'm really not. I just started really young.
You're not quite as old as me. We'll put it that way.
Not quite.
There's an old cliche with coaching, and certainly I think it applies to ADs, parents and fans. They all want our job on Friday nights, walking around, supervising the big event, but nobody wants our job during the week, and certainly no one wants it during the summer this time. What are some of your favorite parts of being an athletic administrator? What gets you excited about the job?
I mean, just really the opportunity to get out and be around student athletes and coaches, man. I mean, that's my world, and that's what I really appreciate. And, there's nothing, this past year working with Human Kinetics, I didn't travel much, but I mean, a lot of conversations and emails with coaches and athletic directors and state association people throughout the country. But that's just not the same, man, as going out to the field. I used to, I'm looking forward to getting back to doing those things. Drop by the baseball field and watch batting practice and hang out and hoot with the coach and, give him a hard time and, just develop those relationships and make sure they know that, we're all in this together, brother. I mean, I ain't forgot about you, that kind of stuff. And I've really, this past year, being away from the school, I think has really made me think that way even more. I think you unintentionally, after 24 years as an athletic administrator, you kind of start to get a little bit robotic in some ways. You don't intend to. I think it just kind of happens, right? And so the year being away from it has really made me realize what I miss the most. And what I miss the most is being out there around the kids and the coaches, because those are my people. Not like, I mean, all of the stakeholders involved in the community, they're my people. But you know what? At heart, I'm a coach. It doesn't matter, what we do. And, it just so happens that now I spend more time coaching coaches than coaching kids. But at the end of the day, I'm a coach. So that's the best part.
Absolutely. Virtually every one of our guests have said that. It's the kids. That's why we do this. We get paid to, hang out with kids and coaches. What better job than that? You talked today about diversity and, in your growing up and initial jobs, maybe a lack of diversity. Certainly the events of this spring and this summer regarding social issues are certainly at the forefront. What are some things that we can do as athletic administrators at our school, regardless of where we are located geographically? What can we do better to help address these social issues?
It's ironic because, my first couple of jobs were not necessarily not very diverse, but I grew up in a very diverse community. So, I mean, it was, you just really didn't even think about, social differences. I mean, my best friends, I mean, look, at the end of the day, when I was in 10th grade, I think I was the only, white kid on the basketball team. So, I mean, so it's like, you just don't even think about it. It never really crosses your mind. And maybe, I don't know if it's good or bad. I mean, I kind of feel like it was good because I really didn't feel like my friends on, no matter if it was, what the race or, whatever their thoughts were about anything. I don't think none of us thought about it. We just played ball, man. And we just wanted to play ball, and we loved each other, and we would do anything we could for each other. And especially, I think you're a former quarterback too, so it's very important to love each other and care for your brother, especially when your brother is a smaller quarterback. But anyway, that's a whole different story. But here's the thing: as time has gone on, and you see things, and maybe we just didn't think about it. Maybe it was always there. I don't have the answer to any of that. But what I've learned throughout my life is we can't assume, we can't take for granted how someone feels. We can't make their feelings change, even if we aren't 100% on board with whatever it might be. So learning that people's feelings are real. And then you start to see some of these issues and you say, oh, I get it. Now I get it, things like that. But, I'm just so fortunate, to have played, with so many people that it just didn't seem like a factor. And now I think the biggest thing that we have to do more than anything is just be sensitive to all people. I mean, listen, if someone feels a certain way, their feelings are legitimate. That's it. I mean, you can't determine if their feelings are legitimate or not. You just have to assume their feelings are legitimate, and you need to do whatever you need to do to make them feel more comfortable and be an equal part of anything that you're doing in every way, shape, or form.
That's great advice. Well, we're nearing the end, and we always like to wrap up with what we call the Athletic Director's Toolbox. I'm going to give you a toolbox, and you're going to present this to a brand new athletic administrator, but you only get to put 3 items in it. What's going to go into the Russ Wambles Athletic Director Toolbox?
Well, not anything that would, that would make someone jump up and say, wow, that's amazing stuff. It would be simple stuff. It would be just advice. And the number one advice for me would be, I mean, I was telling you, the job of the athletic administrator has changed so much over the years, and we can't lose focus on what our main priority is. And so what I try to tell people is, the old adage that people are more important than tasks, and so that's the first advice I would give to new ADs. Listen, focus on the people. You have to do the task, okay? But the tasks are irrelevant if you don't develop relationships. you know, so develop relationships, encourage, mentor, you know, hold people accountable too. I mean, you have to do it all, but people are more important than tasks. And that would be the number one thing I would tell a new AD to always keep in the back of their mind. And then the other two things, a couple things would be professional development. Professional development. You know, with us, it would be LTI, mentoring. You know, we have a mentoring program with the FIAAA. We have all these LTI courses. We have so many great ADs throughout the across the state and the country that all you got to do is just reach out to, boom, and they will help you with anything. So that would be the second thing, professional development. And the last thing is to keep in mind, I guess I would say, bring all stakeholders together to give the student athletes the best opportunities to be successful. And I say that by saying every now and then you're going to have a difficult situation with a parent. It's just going to happen. I'm sorry. Maybe you got situations or issues with a booster club or whatever the deal is. You know, most of these situations, not just student athletes and coaches, you know, but maybe it's, you know, administration, maybe it's the community, whatever the deal is, you're going to have some mostly good, but you're going to have some negative experiences. And you have to keep in mind that you need everybody. Everybody needs to be on board if we're going to achieve our goal of giving our student athletes the best opportunities to succeed in life. And you know, I tell coaches all the time, you know, that kid may be 6'3", 280 and you know, 17-year-old Division I prospect, but that's still that mama's baby, you know, and you need to keep that into perspective because, you know, I'm a parent, you're a parent, and you have to, as a coach, be able to put yourself in that shoe of the parent and understand, and your communication with the parent, with everyone involved has to take place with the perspective, with their perspective in your mind, not just your own. So that's a lot, I know.
Hey, no, that's all great stuff. As you and I could probably appreciate, if we would have had that toolbox starting out, it would have made things, you know, a little bit easier.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of us as coaches, especially good coaches, not only say good coaches, there's a lot of coaches, they just really, you know, look, it's my way or the highway. We don't live in that world anymore, and we probably should have never been in that world. But, you know, and it's not your way or the highway because, you know what, it's not, you don't own the program. You are a shepherd of the program for a period of time. You know, that's it. You don't own it, and the community owns it. So let's bring everybody together so that we can all provide the best experiences possible.
The great ones, they eventually figure that out.
Exactly.
Well, Russell, thank you so much for joining us today. Great stuff. You know, we really appreciate you being on the podcast.
Thank you, Jake. Really enjoyed it, buddy.
Well, for all our listeners, thank you for listening. Please like us, share us, follow us, do all those great things to help spread the word about the Educational Podcast and the FIAAA Insider. Thanks for listening today, and we will see you next time.